Before we dive into this episode, I'd just like to remind you that we are only a few days away from the Renew Year Masterclass 2025. If you feel like you need a blueprint, a plan to become your greatest version, align yourself with your God-given purpose, and create a life that feels good from within, come and join me. It's going to be a 2-day live virtual seminar. All sessions will be recorded with live Q&As at the end, with worksheets and extra resources to guide you into 2025. Together, we'll be crafting a vision, we'll be working through limiting beliefs, and just renewing our mindset, our spirit, and our entire lives, no matter what has happened in the past. So I hope you will join me and other like-minded individuals to create the best 2025 ever. If you'd like to join me, link is down below. See you there. Welcome to the Evolution of Self. I'm your host, Isabel Palacios, and this is the Taking Back Your Power podcast. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here today on Taking Back Your Power. I'm really excited about today's topic. This is something that has been on my mind, in the back of my mind to talk, and I wrote down some notes because I did not want to forget what I wanted to talk about today. I feel like my mind can go just a million miles an hour when there's something that I'm really, really passionate about. And that is when you lose your spark. And this is something I know very well because I went through childbirth, postpartum, all those things. I dealt with postpartum anxiety. Whenever I became a mom, it felt like so natural for me to just kind of lose myself. And I say air quotes because I don't believe that back then I thought this, but I don't believe we necessarily lose ourselves. We simply are doing less of the things that fill us up. We're just in a season of our life where we're not prioritizing those things that make us feel like we are filled up. And something that really contributed to me kind of not feeling very empowered in motherhood or feeling like I wasn't myself was the idea that moms didn't take care of themselves, that moms were always stressed, that moms were always like this, and just kind of like this preconceived notion that I think that society puts on us, regardless if you're a mom. It can be about anything that we can buy into, and it's a paradigm that we buy into. I, for a while, wasn't working. I kind of stopped. I've done social media for over 10 years now, and I stopped posting regularly. And, I didn't have that many ideas coming in because that period of my life was solely about being a mother and raising a newborn and having this transformation happen in body, mind, and soul. And we have to go through these transformations in life. It might not feel like it's this awesome, amazing transformation when you're in it because it's like all encompassing. It feels difficult. It feels something brand new and it feels scary sometimes, but it is a transformation. And often when we're going through difficult times or challenging times, we don't realize it, but we are transforming, we're changing, we're evolving. It's kind of like growing pains. So that's how I choose to see that period of my life. Even though professionally I might have fallen off or whatever you want to say, especially when it comes to YouTube, I have seen that as a challenge. I have seen that as a good challenge to really step up my game and realize being a mother or being a stay-at-home mother, which is what I'm called to do at this point in my life. My daughter is 3, she's not in school yet. So that is where I am right now in life. Being in this place in my life, I'm not going to see it as a limitation. I'm not going to look at my past and view it as a limitation. I'm actually going to use whatever challenges or whatever difficulties I have been through to actually push me to do better, to actually be my fuel. And I think that a lot of times we have to use negativity as fuel in order for us to overcome the negativity, to overcome whatever situation we are in. I was feeling really lost during times postpartum, during my daughter's, earlier years, because my body didn't feel the same, because I was also dealing with a lot of brain fog. I was dealing with feeling lethargic, my hormones were out of balance, just so many things that came along, not just having a baby, but the aftermath of it, the postpartum anxiety, all those things. I am now at a place where I have overcome those challenges. The reason I overcame those challenges is because I faced them head on. And I was finally ready to release the excuses of what happened and how things went and finally say, you know what? I deserve better. I deserve better from myself. I deserve better from myself and I deserve better. And so does my daughter, so does my husband, so does our family. And if I am not focusing on feeling my best, I've realized that that's not going to make me my best version. That's going to make me a worse version. So if you've lost your spark, maybe you went through the same things I did. Maybe it was a breakup. Maybe it was a divorce. Maybe it was the loss of a job. Maybe it was the death of a loved one. Maybe it was something traumatic and difficult. And maybe you lost something that you felt like your identity was tied to so heavily. This is where we have to take a look and face whatever it is that we feel has affected us. You are not what happened to you. You are not the difficulties you face, but you will have a renewed sense of self when you are able to overcome those things that you thought would once defeat you. And you get this confidence in yourself when you face those challenges and you start working to overcome them. Use the negativity as fuel, especially if you're a mom. You have to gain that spark back. I see too many mothers, working mothers, stay-at-home mothers. I get it. We all have difficult positions in life. We all, whether you're a working mom or stay-at-home mom, it's difficult. I don't believe in saying one is more difficult than the other, but they're both hard in their own way. But especially when you are the thermostat of your home, when you are the caretaker, right, of these little ones who are watching you and they're learning from you and they're depending so much from you, from your energy, from what you provide, you need to take care of yourself to get to this place where you are doing more things to help you feel good about yourself. And a lot of times we start thinking feeling good about yourself is just the physical. No. Getting your spark back takes this very simply. Creating a routine or having something that you do at least once a day, at least 5 times a week, 3 to 4 times a week, if you can do it. Okay. You start small. It's okay to start small, but at least 3 to 4 times a week, you do it once a day. Having that one thing that you do for yourself. And then from there, as that becomes a habit and it becomes a non-negotiable that you feel like you can't live without that thing, keep adding more things onto it. So as an example, y'all know I was dealing with a lot of brain fog earlier this year. I was feeling very lethargic, bloated. I had excess weight gain. I started to change my body from the inside out. I started to take different supplements, manage my hormones, eat more protein. And from there, as I started just to put more protein into my diet, something that I really didn't focus on before, I didn't really care about before. Before I was very heavy carbs, a lot of processed foods. I stopped looking for quick fixes to lose weight. I stopped looking at, this type of diet, this type of thing. And I just started to listen to my body, be more intuitive. I started focusing on how I felt during my ovulation, how I felt during follicular, how I felt during the luteal phase, how I felt during the menstrual phase. I looked at my cycle and I said, this is where my energy is going to go down. And I started to live my life according to that cycle. I'll have more energy on this day. I'll have more creative energy on this day. I'll be, more tired on this day. I started to actually do that. And I did this a long time ago. Like I said, I did this before pregnancy, but eating according to that and living according to that. And once I cut out the processed foods, I stopped eating out. My husband's a huge junk food person. I stopped eating out. I started to cook more at home, learn new recipes, be very mindful about what's in my food, just complete like a lifestyle change. If I could say that was a lifestyle change, that was the biggest lifestyle change for me. And I've always loved to cook, but this time it was like, I'm doing this. This is for me. Before I would say, oh, cooking is a chore. I'm not going to do it. It takes too much time. But now this was like my me time. I would prepare dinner, play music, really romanticize the heck out of cooking. And it's like my meditation nowadays. But I started to do that and it was just such a game changer. And one thing that I really did during this time, especially whenever I was struggling, is I leaned more into God. God just supported me so much through this time my prayer, my Bible time. That's a non-negotiable. I never really read the Bible before then, but I got a journaling Bible. I got, a journal. And this has been probably one of the biggest game changers this past year is journaling with a Bible and writing down what I gained from each scripture and being really intentional about my faith. And when I tell you that God, when you pray to him to give you motivation or to give you energy or to give you a spark, it ignites. As that happened, I'm changing all these different things about myself, and it feels scary at first because you don't know if it's the right thing sometimes, right? Sometimes you just think you may be a little delusional, but I kept working through it and through my excuses. And a million excuses would come up, right? Oh, I'm too tired. Oh, I have to go to the store. Oh, I have to do this. But I kept pushing through despite the excuses. And guys, do you know what happens when you push through your excuses and you get something done? You feel amazing. You feel like you're on top of the world, even if it's something so small. You feel so proud of yourself. And even if you're like, "Oh, I'm not going to feel proud of myself because I cooked myself a dinner." Well, you should. You should feel proud of yourself. You should feel excited when you push through an excuse, when you push through the negativity, when you push over the challenge and you do something that like I talked about in my last episode, the discipline, you do something that your future self is going to thank you for. It's a whole nother level of self-love, of self-respect, of drive. And that feeling, it's almost like a dopamine hit, right? It's that feeling just keeps you wanting to move forward. Inspiration has to find you already working. You don't wait for inspiration to come to you. You don't wait for motivation to come to you. It has to find you already working. I think it was Pablo Picasso who said that. And that has stuck with me forever. And that's what always pushes me through. Whenever I feel silly starting something new, or I don't feel motivated, I don't wait for motivation. I just simply start doing what I need to do. And then that carries me through. And with anything, if that's a book you want to write, if that's some art that you want to paint, if that's a relationship that you want to fix, you have to already start doing and creating the momentum in the direction you want to go. From there, and I'm going to keep talking about this because I will tell you the changes that I have felt within the last 6 months, even like the last 2 months in my life, have been incredible. And they're from things that are so simple. So if you feel like you are in the biggest rut of your life, if you don't feel like yourself, know that the answer is a lot more simple than we make it out to be in our head. It seems like we have so much, like a big mountain. If we have to scale that whole big mountain in one day, we won't do it. But if we do little simple steps, it's going to be so much easier to get to the top. So next thing I started doing, the daily walks. I talked about this in my last episode about discipline. A million things, a million excuses will come up whenever I have to do something like going on a walk. I push through those excuses. Now it's like I don't feel like myself if I don't go for a walk. During Christmas break, I had family over and I didn't have the time to go for my walks. And I would find myself going up and down my stairs just to get my steps in. And I got this Garmin watch for Christmas, and it's just been a game changer to track my steps because I want to do 10,000 to 12,000 a day. But it's just become such a part of my life, such a part of who I am now that going for a walk, I need it. I crave it. And those of you who are, into fitness, this. You feel like you're not yourself, right? And the reason I started doing walks was because since I'm a stay-at-home mom, I don't have a babysitter. I don't have, childcare. My daughter's with me all the time, except when my husband's home. And so I couldn't go to the gym with her, right? So I had to get exercise in. If I were to try to do exercise at home, it would get really difficult because she'd always want to just be on top of me. She won't leave me alone. She'll cry, all those toddler things. So I worked around it and I realized my daughter loves to be in a stroller. It's a miraculous thing. She loves to go for walks. Sometimes she'll get antsy and she'll want to get out of the stroller. But I said, okay, my daughter likes to be in a stroller. I'm going to put her in a stroller and I'm going to see how far we can go. Then I started bringing more snacks. I started bringing toys. She started to like the stroller even more, and she actually asked to go on walks now. So it's not only my routine, it's become part of her routine, and she's going to grow up seeing her mom take care of herself. She's going to grow up with this beautiful idea that walks are a bonding, right? Bonding time between her and her mom. And the walks have, I mean, I'm going to be honest, they've melted off a few pounds so easily. And yes, I have been eating cleaner. I have been watching my portion size, but really the game changer has been going for these walks. Why? Because not only do they help me lose a little weight, right, from the calories burnt and just the rigorous, my heart rate being up, but also it's the mental health aspect. The fact that my stress levels have gone down, the fact that I'm more creative, I get more ideas when I'm out for walks. And sometimes I listen to music, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I'm just looking around at nature, right? It's about doing what works for you, fitting into your schedule, fitting into your lifestyle, things that work for you. What may work for me may not work for you, and that's okay. It doesn't mean that you're failing. It doesn't mean that you're doing anything wrong or there's anything wrong with your life. Do not compare yourself to anyone. But you have to find the things in life that renew you, that restore you, and that make you feel good. And I don't mean alcohol. I don't mean partying. I don't mean chasing endless highs, right? I mean doing things that are good for your health, doing things that are good for your body, doing things that are good for your brain, that are good for your soul. That is what I think we have to focus on, especially in this culture where we are just focused on buying and acquiring and materialism and, plastic surgery and all these things that we feel are going to make us feel good about ourselves. They are the most mindless things that can really change your life. It just excites me to no end to talk about this topic because I see girls, a lot of, on TikTok especially, I see a lot of girls talking about their spark, and this does not have to be your reality. And it could be a season that you're going through. Sometimes we go through tough seasons. We go through seasons of grief, of change, of loss, of so many things. And the thing is, it's a season. It's not meant to be your entire life. And no, you have not lost your spark. You simply forgot who you are and the things that make you feel alive. And sometimes the things that used to make us feel alive no longer do. And that's okay. Like for me, there were other things that made me feel alive. Now it's changed. And I've allowed myself to discover and make it so simple. Because change can only happen when you are constantly doing something over and over and over again till it becomes your new reality. And the thing is, we overcomplicate the change. We try to change things all at once, and that makes it very unsustainable. So do one thing at a time. And yes, I am losing weight. It is very, 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 very slow. But I would rather a slow weight loss and a slow body transformation that is going to last me instead of some quick fix that's going to break the next time I get a craving. But no, I have a great relationship with food now. I have a great relationship with my body now. I'm feeling like myself. I'm feeling like Isabel. I have all these ideas. And I'm going to tell you, I know people hate it when people say this, but if I can do it, so can you. There is nothing better or different about me. I am a human being. I simply got disciplined. I simply got really clear on what I needed to change. And I did a lot of soul searching and I gave myself time and I honored my cycle and I gave myself rest and I still give myself rest. I'm not burning myself to the bone. I honor my femininity and I found what works for me in this season of my life. There will probably be another season of my life where I'm going hard in the gym, lifting weights. But for now, my walks, my stretches, my, at-home body weight exercises, that's all I need right now. Lean on God. Lean on God. Because I know that it wasn't just some random epiphany that came to me. This was God speaking to me and telling me you need to make changes in your life. You are not going to feel my presence if you don't start living your life with gratitude and being grateful for what you have. And I think a lot of times we take for granted our bodies. We take for granted so many things and we don't see the blessings in our life because we're so caught up and we're all up in our head about all these things and all these worries. And we fail to see the path that God has for us right in front of us. And that's something that I have seen for myself. And God will heal you. Ask God for healing, especially if somebody hurt you, especially if you've been through a lot of traumatic things all at once. I think that we shouldn't compare our traumas to other people, but honor whatever you've been through. Go through that healing. Don't try to suppress. Don't try to ignore. Whether it's health issues, whether it's anything that you have been battling, just know that there is a path for you. And it's not going to look like anyone else's. And it's not about comparing yourself to anyone else. As I battled through my own health issues, I felt very out of control, out of all these different things, but I had to figure out what worked for me. And nobody could do it for me. I couldn't wait for anyone to do it for me. I had to take the initiative to start doing things differently. So I hope this inspired you to look for the glimmers in your life and to figure out what is your glimmer, to figure out what will give you sustenance in your daily life. Start small, and then you're going to see how it snowballs, right? The compound effect. That is, if you haven't read the book, The Compound Effect or Atomic Habits, read those books. They're incredible for what I'm talking about, but it doesn't have to look exactly like what they explain in the books, right? It can look something unique and simple to you. And my version may seem like so silly and so simple to some people who are like on a roll and high achievers and motivators, but hey, this is what is part of my life. This is what makes me feel great. And we all have to start somewhere. But just know that there is a whole new chapter for your life waiting for you. You just have to look for it. You have to search, knock on that door, and let God guide you. So that is it for today's episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope it helped you. And if you feel like maybe this episode would help someone else, please feel free to share it. Like, subscribe, follow this podcast. If you enjoy it, please write me a review. That helps so much. And leave a comment that helps push this podcast out to more people. And I appreciate you more than you know. And please join me for the Renew Year Masterclass in 2025, where we will go in depth on exactly what I talked about here and actual routines. I will help you craft a routine. I will help you craft a rhythm and a master plan for 2025 so you can align to your God-given purpose and potential. I love you so much, and always remember this: no matter who you may be in this life, no matter what you may be going through or what you look like, always remember your true beauty, your true worth, and your true power always come from within. I love you, and don't forget to tune in on next week's episode of Taking Back Your Power. Bye-bye.